Hello, and welcome to Yellow Covers Explained. Today's video will cover swinging doors and sliding doors. These doors were the ones that excited me the most when I started learning Mapster. In our last Mapster video, we went over the basics, so I'll trust you know how to handle yourself in the 2D and 3D space. We'll start out with our blank canvas again and create a room. You can make yours look like however you want. Doesn't have to be too big, just make sure that it's big enough that your arrow can fit inside of it and we can make a hallway. Then, we'll attach a hallway and another room. Entering 3D mode, we can see that we have both of our rooms and a hallway. I'm going to take a moment to texture this so it's a bit easier to look at. Feel free to pause and spruce your hallway up if you'd like. Now that house cleaning is done and it looks a bit like a Doom level, we're going to go back to 2D mode. From here, we're going to zoom in and change our grid to be slightly smaller so we have a little bit different workspace than the big chunks we had before. The key when making doors like this in the build engine is to not let the wall sectors touch each other. The game really dislikes that. So, we'll create our swinging door by getting as close to our wall as we can without touching them, and then make a rectangle. Then, we're going to press Alt and S to turn that into part of the room instead of being its own sector. This is important. If it's its own sector, it won't work. It needs to have these little red lines instead of the black ones. Then, we're going to press T over our new swinging door area and tell it it's going to be a swinging door by typing in 23. Then, we can press the H key and give it a unique tag. We've not made anything else on this map, so this will just be number 1. Then, back to 3D to spawn 3 sprites. 1, 2, and 3. We're going to need a sector effector. That's this guy. He kind of looks like an S. Then, we're going to copy that sector effector and turn one of the other sprites we made into that. And then finally, the third sprite, we're going to press V on, V again, and we're going to turn it into a music and sound effects object. This will be so our door has sounds. Now that we have all 3, we're going to head back to 2D mode. You're going to point your cursor over one of the sector effectors and press Alt and then T so we can tell it what it's going to be. We're going to turn this one into a hinge for our door by typing in 11. And then we're going to press Alt and H over that same node and give it a 1, so it knows that it's the hinge for the door we were making. Then we'll go to our next sector effector and give it a tag of 10 by pressing Alt and T. This will make it so the door closes on its own. We get to set this timer by ourselves by pressing Alt and H over our object and choosing some numbers. This timer is not in seconds, but I've found that 92 tends to be a pretty good wait time for a door to close. Finally, we move our cursor over our sound effects sprite. We'll do both the Alt-T and Alt-H, but they're going to have the same number this time of 165. We're assigning it both an open and a closed sound effect, so our door doesn't have weird silence sometimes. Now, we'll drag each sprite inside the door that we made. Oh, turn the grid off there. We'll get everybody up there really quick. So we want to make sure that it's inside the box, so there will be perfect. An important thing to note is the way that the hinge is facing determines which way the door is swinging. There's a white line coming out from the hinge, and that tells us that the door will swing the opposite direction. So currently it's pointed up, our door should swing down. Let's head back into 3D and raise the door and give it some textures. What we're going to do is right-click on the door area on the floor. An easy way to find where your sector is on that bottom left corner. It tells you which sector you're pointed at. So whenever you go over a sector that's different, you'll know that's probably your door. We're then going to push page up until it's all the way at the ceiling, and give it a texture. Alright, that's my texture. It might not really look like a swinging door, but that's okay. It'll work out. How about we see what this looks like in-game? Alright, as we can see, we've loaded into the box that I've made, and it appears that there's a door in front of us. If we open it, it does in fact open. The hinge is going the opposite direction. That's interesting. I haven't seen that before. I'll have to look into that. But make sure to do your own testing. However, if you followed this tutorial, you should have a functional swing door. And if you want to make it so that it doesn't have those like peek-through holes on the side of the door, we did forget to texture this side. You can put a little bit of a poke out here from the wall to cover it up. Just make sure you don't do it on the side that the door is going to swing into. Alright, that last door wasn't too bad. Let's try getting a sliding door going. What'd you say, Duke?
Groovy.
Perfect. Let's rock. Sliding doors are a bit more tricky. First, we'll start by drawing the section to hold the sliding door once it's been opened. We already have some points inserted right here, so I'll draw this out and just make a long hallway to keep our piece in. And it's alright if it's a little misaligned, you can fix it after. Now, something we have to do before we make this into a sliding door is these are both different sectors. If you have a sliding door go over a different sector, it'll cause it to look really funny and not work generally well. So what I'm going to do is press J on one side and then J on the other. This joins the two sectors and gets rid of that red line. Now, I'm going to press G a couple of times to make the grid super small and create a sliding door in the gap that we have without touching any of the walls. Then I'll press Ctrl S on that to make it a zone that we can edit. Perfect. Once the door area is complete, we'll press H. Once you've made the door and the area for the door to go, give the door the tag of 25 by pressing T, and then typing in 25 to make it a sliding door. Then press H and give it the tag of 2, so it knows that it's not the same as the previous door we made. The section now knows it's a door and that it will slide at some point. Back into 3D mode, we're going to have to spawn 2 sprites. We previously used the sector effector, so it's already set to that, but we'll change the other sprite to a music and sound effects sprite. In 2D mode, set the sector effector's low tag, or pressing Alt-T on it, to 15. This will tell it that it's the sliding door's arrow that tells it where to go. Then, we're going to press Alt-H on it and give it a tag of 2 so it knows it goes with our sliding door. Then we'll take our music and sound effects cube and we'll press Alt-T and give it a tag of 262 and do the same after pressing Alt-H. This is to give it the vault door sliding effect. It's just a sound, but hopefully it'll make your vault door, or any sliding door, a little more... Then we'll go over to our music and sound effects and give it a tag of 262 on our Alt-T and 262 on our Alt-H. This gives it the vault door sliding sound effect. I have found that to be a very good sound effect to use with pretty much any sliding door. It's not specific to vaults. Then we'll take our slide door and we'll point it in the direction using the comma and period key that we want the door to slide. I'll put both of our items right there in our box. Now, I did say that it was the last time in 3D before, but actually it's going to be this time. We still have to make our door look good. That is important after all. Ooh, that's not what I wanted to do. I grabbed the wrong item. Our door, right there. So one of my favorite things to do with these types of sliding doors is to give it the curtain texture, which should be right about, I may have gone past it. There it is, I did. I just think the curtains that slide to the side look really nice, and unlike last time, I'm not going to forget to texture this side, and we'll even go fix this side of the door too by grabbing that. There you go. Now, with any luck, we'll give it a test run in game, and it should work perfectly fine. We'll give it one save, and I'll see you in the game. Alright, I had just said that we were good to go, but I forgot one very important thing when setting up this specific type of door. Not only do we need the slide and the sound effects to make it sound nice, but we also need this thing called speed. You go into your 3D editing mode and spawn a sprite, and then go and look for it. It'll be up here at the top. It's quite hard to see, but it's this pink one next to the respawn switch. Once you've spawned that in, go back into 2D mode, press Alt and T on it, and it depends on how long your hallway is, but I've found that 12 to 1300 works for this hallway. I already have my object on my door, so I'm not going to add another one, but you've gotten to see how it works. Now we can go try it out in game. Do remember to add that, otherwise your door won't slide hardly at all. Alright, now we're spawned in. We can see our first door still works just fine, and it closes on its own. And we can see that our sliding door now slides. Perfect. Just like that. And it even makes noise when it comes back. So, now you know how to make 2 extra types of doors for your Duke Nukem 3D levels. I hope this helped you and that you can map some awesome things. If you learned anything, please leave a like. If you didn't learn anything, you can leave a dislike if you wanted to. Have a great day.